So today I'm going to be looking at weddings that did not end up happening. So yeah, let's just get right into the video. Yes, it was my own wedding. I was waiting there and my bride-to-be texted me letting me know that she wasn't feeling well and that she needed to go to the hospital. I got suspicious when I noticed that no one from her side of the family had shown up. Turns out they never sent out their half of the invitations and never bothered to tell me that there was no wedding. So there I was with my friends and family at a wedding that didn't actually exist. This happened around 20 years ago. I'm an Indian and was supposed to get married to a guy who was a close family friend. That guy was nice and all, but on the wedding day, he ran away with my sister. Yes, you guys read it right. He ran away with my younger sister. So my entire family was very upset and claimed his younger brother as compensation. I got married to his younger brother. Marriage turned out superb, like one of those dream marriages you see on TV. But yes, the marriage was an accident. The groom got really drunk and hit his fiancée in the face in front of everyone. I was young and didn't really get what was going on. I just remember my uncle laying the groom out with one punch. I was talking with the DJ who told me of a wedding he did. Gets all the way into the reception and it's time to cut the cake. The groom mashes the cake into the bride's face and she is livid. She turns red, screams at him and slaps him across the face so hard it sounds like a gunshot and it echoes across the reception hall. Everyone gasps and gets quiet. She storms off. A while later, the father of the bride comes up to the DJ and hands him $500. He says, "Listen, this marriage is over. She's actually left the building, but I've paid for this party and all my family and friends are here. I want you to finish out the night and finish it strong. Keep the music playing and don't mention the two of them again for the rest of the night." He agrees and everyone has a grand old time. A friend of mine asked me to go to her cousin's wedding as her date. Her cousin was the bride-to-be. The ceremony seemed to go well, except the groom fidgeting, looking about and wearing an almost hostile expression on his face. Seemed odd, but I assumed it was nerves. The groom didn't wait for the kiss the bride part, grabbed the bride and rather abruptly turned her and himself around to face the audience. He then started yelling at the people on her side of the aisle that she was his now and they should give up any thought of ever seeing her again. The bride attempted to protest or calm him down, not certain which, but when she tried to say something, he backhanded her hard enough to knock her off of the dais. This all happened in a few seconds and everyone in the audience was stunned. Once outside, we got the bride into a car with her mum and my friend so they could leave, and I made haste to my car. I learned a few days later that the groom was arrested breaking into the bride's house, using a shotgun as a lockpick, and trashing her house looking for her. The marriage was not recorded by the official priest, so at least the bride didn't have to go through the trouble of getting a divorce. I declined wedding invites for some time after that. The groom didn't appear or change his mind, I am not sure, and the best man stepped in saying he's always been in love with the woman and wants to marry her instead. Apparently, giving the wartime, the priest approved of that, and they were a very good couple. They managed to get married, but then she hopped in a car with some random dude. I was confused, asked my buddy what was going on. He explained that dude was driving her down to the honeymoon spot because she didn't like the way her husband drove. 2 days later, I found out that once my friend made it to the cabin for their honeymoon, he walked in on them in the shower together. She then revealed that she only married him so her parents would get off her back, and that she hated him and was shacking up with this guy the whole week instead. They'd tell everyone it wasn't working out once they got back in town and annul. My friend was obviously devastated by this and has never recovered. The groom left the bride at the altar. He just didn't show up. He said he had cold feet. The couple stayed together and then planned another wedding. He stood her up again. Somehow they stayed together and she agreed to attempt to marry him a third time. He showed up. They wed and have been together 45 plus years.
Am I the asshole for ruining a pregnancy announcement by telling the woman she may have taken the wrong test? My husband and I recently invited 8 friends for lunch and we were asked if we could also include a new couple, Doug and Sasha. We have never met them before, but everyone who was invited had, so we said sure. At one point during dinner, Sasha needed to use the restroom, and I told her to use the master suite since the other bathroom was occupied. I was helping my husband in the kitchen when Sasha came out of the room bawling and holding something in her hand. At first, I thought she hurt herself, but she said something to Doug that caused him to drop to his knees, cry, and begin kissing her stomach. All of our friends began screaming, jumping, and crying. It was insane. Finally, Sasha tells my husband and I that she is pregnant. Of course, we congratulate both of them, and then I give them a bag to put the pregnancy test in. I will admit, I did find it odd that she brought a pregnancy test and took it at a complete stranger's house, but I didn't say that out loud. Once everyone sat down to eat, Sasha looked over to me and said, "I hope you don't mind that I used one of your pregnancy tests. I just saw them and I had to." Looking at her confused, I responded, "I don't have any pregnancy tests." Sasha says yes, in your drawer. I asked Sasha if she meant the blue box in the back of my lower left drawer that was closed. She seemed to realize I was pointing out that she basically snooped around, and she sheepishly said the box said pregnancy for pregnancy tests. I said, "Sasha, the brand is Pregmate, and those are ovulation tests. I do not own pregnancy tests. Did you take an ovulation test?" Her husband freaked the absolute F out at me and said his wife was not an idiot and can read a box. He insisted Sasha get the test out now and show me that I'm wrong. Sasha refused, saying she didn't need to prove anything to a complete stranger and insisted they leave immediately. One of the couples thought that Doug and Sasha acted completely ridiculous, while the other 3 couples thought I should have pulled Sasha aside to discuss my concerns and said I was the asshole for saying something in front of everyone. Honestly, the whole situation caught me off guard and everything happened so quickly. The whole thing was bizarre and confusing. I just didn't have the time to put the pieces together mentally before asking about the ovulation tests. Also, I found out later through one of my friends that Sasha did take the ovulation test and she is not pregnant. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay my half of our canceled wedding? My ex-fiancé and I come from very different cultural backgrounds. Our families live on entirely different continents. I explicitly told him before we even got engaged that I always wanted a small, low-key wedding. I know that his culture have huge, lavish weddings, and he told me that this is what he wants. So when we got engaged, we had a long conversation which resulted in the compromise that we would have a big wedding in his home country, but drop some of the other aspects of his culture that I wasn't so comfortable with, or did not mesh well with my own culture. This was not a huge amount of customs we were dropping. In fact, we arranged to drop 1 and alter 2 so that they streamlined better with my own culture. We were both as happy as possible with this outcome. We began making bookings, reservations, and paying deposits for our wedding. This was all out of his bank account. This is because we did not have citizenship in each other's countries, so it was far less complicated for everything to be paid from one account of the same country. The intention was that after we get married, it would be much easier to get citizenship, and once citizenship was approved, we would merge our finances, and at this point would not matter who had paid for the wedding, since all our money would be together. 3 weeks before we were married, his mother and aunts got wind of one of the customs we had arranged to alter and lost him. Through conversation, they had found out about the other 2, and eventually they threatened to disown him for being a bad son. They said I was cutting him off from his family and that if that was what he wanted, they would make it easier for him. He begged me to change my mind, but I was firm, saying this is what we decided together. I wasn't going to drop the agreement because his family don't like it, when there are plenty of aspects my own family are uncomfortable with. Relationships are about compromise and communication, and ultimately, the first priority are the 2 people in the relationship, not their family. He told me that if I wouldn't budge, then the wedding was off. I told him I already had made my compromise, and I still wanted to marry him under our original conditions when we had spent a long time negotiating and originally felt were fair. He said he had changed his mind and did not want to marry me. After a few weeks, he contacted me asking me to pay him back for half the money he was unable to get back from the deposits we paid. Since it was so close to the planned date that we canceled, it was not a small amount of money. However, since he was the one who called off the wedding, and even at this point, I would still marry him if we were able to honor our original agreement, I don't think I'm obliged to pay. I told him this, and he's very unhappy because he believed that it's my fault that he canceled the wedding because I'm unwilling to be flexible. So, am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my half of our canceled wedding? Am I the asshole for cutting my hair so my sister had a longer punishment? This technically happened around 7 years ago, but after newly revealed information, things are tense. Back when I was 17, my younger sister Ellie thought it would be a fun prank to cut my hair in my sleep. I'm a bit of a mover and active dreamer, so when I suddenly jolted, my sister panicked and ended up cutting off a much longer chunk than what she wanted. Out of instinct, my sister let out a scream, so I woke up and saw what she did. My parents woke up to me yelling at her, and in turn yelled at her too. My mom took me to the hairdresser, and I ended up going from having my hair halfway down my back to a pixie cut. As punishment, my sister had to use some of her savings to pay for my new hairstyle, and then gave my sister a choice to either get a buzz cut or no phone and no social life until my hair got longer. Let me be clear when I say until my hair got longer. I don't mean that until it's back to its original length, but rather long enough so that growth was noticeable. My hair usually doesn't take too long to grow, so my sister chose the second punishment as she didn't want to lose her hair. That just made me all the more furious, so out of vengeance, I would give myself little trims at night in the bathroom every once in a while to make it seem like my hair wasn't growing. Eventually, my sister got tired of waiting and missed hanging out with her friends outside of school and asked for some other type of punishment. Our dad reminded her of her option, but it still had been months, and my sister felt like it wasn't fair because she didn't intend to cut as much as she did, and that she apologized and insisted that while my hair could grow back, she could never get back time that she missed enjoying her teen years. My sister would cry and pout, but refused to shave her head to get back her privileges. Over time, I got over wanting revenge and just let my hair grow, and my sister was ecstatic to getting off the punishment. Years went by and we never spoke about it again until we had a conversation with our cousins talking about the worst thing we've done to our siblings. My sister brought up the haircut and I casually mentioned how I got back at her. I didn't think it was a big deal anymore, but my sister got upset and later texted me calling me an ass. So, am I the asshole?
Hi guys, thank you for watching. I love you guys so much. Please like and subscribe to see more great videos. See you again.